Shooting expired film on the Gold Coast, part 1. Last weekend, I shot not one, but 2 rolls of expired film in the space of 30 minutes. I was driving down to the Gold Coast to pick up my daughter and my wife. They'd visited Sydney for the Taylor Swift Eras tour, so I had to go pick them up from Gold Coast Airport. And on Sunday afternoon, it was a beautiful afternoon, nice and sunny, and I got down to the Gold Coast early and I thought, right, I've got probably about an hour here. I've got 2 rolls of expired film and I'm going to give these a go around the streets of Coolangatta and see what I can get. So the first camera was the Contax G1, one of my favorite film cameras, and I loaded that up with some Fuji Industrial 100. Now this film was actually a drunk eBay purchase a few years ago. So going back 3 or 4 years, I was at the height of my gas gear acquisition syndrome, and I used to buy lots of cameras, lots of film, back when they were a whole lot cheaper. And one night on eBay, I saw a seller in Japan had about 6 rolls, I think it was, of this Fuji Industrial 100 film, but I'd never shot it before. So I thought, right, I'm just going to buy it. I had a glass or maybe 2 of wine, and it seemed like a good price. Unfortunately, once you add the import duties to Australia, once you add the shipping, once you converted the US dollars to Australian dollars, it wasn't actually quite as good a deal as I thought it was. Nevertheless, in 2024 dollars, it was probably a good deal. So this Fuji Industrial 100 has been cold stored ever since I bought it on eBay a few years ago. So I was really keen to try it out. It sat in my fridge the whole time, never actually used it. So I actually chose the 24 exposure roll I had. I think I've got 4 more rolls of this 36 exposure, but I thought I'm just going to try it out, see what it's like. I'll load up the 24 exposure in my Contax G1. There's a couple of other reasons why I chose the roll of 24 exposure. First of all, I didn't have much time. I probably had about an hour. And the other reason is in my Minolta TC1, another of my favorite cameras, I loaded up a roll of this Agfa Vista 100. And this was a 24 exposure film as well. So I thought this is great. I'll shoot 2 24 exposure rolls side by side. Now, remember when I said I had about an hour to shoot this film? Well, the flight from Sydney came in early. I could not believe it. And about 20 minutes early, my daughter texted me and said, "We're on the tarmac, are you here?" And I'd only taken about half of each roll. I was a little bit stressed. It was hot. I was sweating. It was sunny. I was desperate for a coffee. But hey, I persevered. I walked back to the car. I was about 15 minutes walk away, and I shot the rest of the roll, about another 12 exposures in pretty quick succession. I really did not have much time to think about, where I was going. I didn't have time to go too far away. I really had to get it done. So I was under pressure to finish both of those rolls of 24 exposure film. Now with both cameras, I actually dialed in half a stop of exposure compensation. Both the G1 and the TC1 let you do that. So because both films were used by 2009, 15 years ago, I dialed in half a stop exposure compensation just to give it a bit more light. Now in this video, we're going to show you the results of the Contax G1 with the Fuji Industrial 100 roll. So here we go, let's get into it. This is one of my favorite shots on the entire roll. This is pretty typical of the houses you used to see down the Gold Coast 40, 50, 60 years ago, but they're few and far between now. Here we have one of my favorite subjects, Hills Hoist washing lines, and there's 2 of them in a row. How wonderful. There are some modern houses down here as well, but luckily for me, there are still quite a few of these old school ones. Towards the end of the roll, I did have a couple of focusing issues. So this image here came out completely blurry. However, I actually did capture it about 20 minutes before when the sun wasn't directly on the backyard. And this image here of the passion fruits, I actually turned my autofocus to manual focus at 45 centimeter or 1.5 feet. Unfortunately, it came out blurry, not sure what went on. So there you go. What did you think of the roll of Fuji Industrial 100? I absolutely loved it. I think the colors look fantastic. This looks like fresh film to me. It must have been stored in very good conditions in Japan. The colors are clear and crisp, beautiful blues and reds and greens, and everything just looks fantastic. And paired with the G1 with that planar 45mm lens, some of those photos, yeah, they just look a bit almost like 3D. Absolutely love that lens. I think it has a beautiful rendering and I can't wait to shoot with it some more. It was a little bit of disappointment, of course, with that photo of the passion fruits right at the end there. Sometimes you do get that quirky kind of focusing issues with the G1, but hey, all up, I think it was a success. I love the pictures, and like I said, yeah, can't wait to shoot some more with the G1 and also with the Fuji Industrial 100. What did you think of the pictures? I would love to know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. Make sure you stay tuned to Matt Loves Cameras YouTube, because very soon I'll be publishing Expired Film on the Gold Coast Part 2 with the Minolta TC1 and Agfa Vista 100 film.